this is one of my rambles. It's not really a big enough topic for a full podcast, but I got to thinking over the holiday season about how much music is tied to holidays. And it got me thinking about one of the difficulties we face as pagans, heathens, druids, whatever, is that most of our music that's geared specifically for us is only known by us. So if you're traveling out in the world and you're listening to Lorena McKenna or Enya, or if you're listening to something harder like Fawn or Illumity, or even if you're listening to like some good old-fashioned Nordic Finnish death metal, my personal kick right now, such as Amorphous, Christians and Jews and Muslims hear it and they kind of recoil because it's not something they're used to. It's another difference. So I began thinking, what can you do to express to them through art some of the things that Druids and heathens and Astruar, etc., 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 to quote Neil Brenner, would believe in? What kind of songs can you use to evoke those emotions? And so I've written some songs out here that are in the popular culture and the mainstream that people know that match things that Druids are concerned about. Now, since these are all popular culture songs, many of these songs have Christian Judeo influences because that's the dominant religion in our culture. And so when you present these songs to somebody, there's specific passages that you need to pick out. You go, this is kind of what Druids believe in. I'm going to do that as much as I can. You also need to point out to them that, this isn't a Druid song per se, but it has something in it that Druids are concerned about, or pagans or heathens, etc., etc., etc. I need to get a Yul Brynner impression. I really do like etc., etc., etc. better than yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada just seemed a little too nasal and whiny. I never liked Seinfeld. Ooh, hear people turning me off. Okay, so, starting down the list. One of the things that Druids are concerned about is the impact of the irresponsible use of technology and development upon the environment. Now note how I said that, the irresponsible use. There is a stereotype amongst some pagan communities that anything more advanced than flint knapping and fire making and hunter-gathering is not a society human beings should be living in. And I have a particular knee-jerk reaction to that, because having been a Boy Scout, I know what it's like to do that stuff, and it sucks. I'm also a historian, and I know that in those cultures, you have an extremely high mortality rate, and you have even more xenophobia and intolerance than we have in the modern world. So I kind of really like technology. That, and I don't know what I would do without YouTube and Google. So, Druids have this thing of a concern about the impact of the irresponsible use of technology on the environment. And perhaps the most well-known and poignant song about this is Seminole Wind by John Anderson. Now, this is a country song, and I warn you, you hear lots of country songs in this list because I is a Southerner, and I is proud of it, and my parents came from hillbillies. So, Seminole Wind by John Anderson is a song about what the Florida government did to the Everglades and how it is now going to recover. And it's also got the reason about migrated there. And it's got not only the love of place and the love of country in it, but it's got the loss that's never coming back. In particular, there's a chorus in it, actually not a chorus, a verse that goes, progress came and took its toll, and in the name of flood control, they drained the lands and they built their dams. Now the glades are going dry. And the last time I walked in the swamp, I sat upon a cypress stump. I listened close and I heard the ghost of Osceola cry. Some books you can read on the subject. One of them is an autobiography about Toch Brown, who was kind of a local legend in that area. And it was a very interesting biography in that Toch goes into the things he also did wrong and illegal. And you get a sense not only of what the Glades was like in the 20s when he was growing up, but what the old-timers there were like and how things have drastically changed. And in his opinion, not for the better. The next song, as I got listed here, is Country Roads by John Denver, which is a song about growing up in West Virginia. There's a passage in Country Roads that goes, life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. And this kind of gets to the Druid love of the natural world. We really like being out in nature. We like feeling the turn of the seasons. We like having positive interactions with the natural world. Although Druids, in my experience, tend to be a bit introverted, we're a really weird kind of introverted in that we get out of the house when we go camping. We get out of the house when we go hiking. We get out of the house and when we see an animal, we take pictures and we don't interfere with it, but we appreciate it. we're that hiker that will go out and on the trail, we might take like a small stone, but we will leave like all the plants and stuff that actually beauty the environment needs there. The next song, Druids believe in a magical spiritual world, and that magical spiritual world has people in it who know more than you and are the people that we look to as being elders. Now, this particular song may not necessarily deal with one of those kind of people. It's Old Man Down the Road by John Fogerty. But the song has passages in it that are laced with hoodoo and southern mysticism, such as he got the voices speaking riddles, he got the baying of the hounds, he got the suitcase of rattlesnake hide, and he stand right in the road. Other lyrics sound like you take the thunder from the lightning, you bring a proud man to his knees, and it seems to imply a lot of spellcasting and a lot of control of the spiritual world. It's also just a really moody, eerie piece, and if you've ever been out in the southern forests at night, there is something very unique to that area. Druids have a belief that the spirits of the place all have an individual feel. It's almost like the spiritual world develops a culture influenced by the human one. And there is a large difference behind, say, a bayou and a North England forest. There's a completely different feel in those two environments. Now, going to a different source, there's a traditional ballad called Wayfaring Stranger. I happen to really like this ballad. The ballad dates back, if I remember my research correctly, to the 1600s, somewhere in England. And it tells the story of this guy who's having to go from place to place to make a living. And he uses that analogy to also represent a person's travel through life. Well, we as Druids are very concerned about the life passages of people and their development as persons. Not only that, but we have a very strong belief in an afterlife where our ancestors are. And many of the courses in Wayfaring Stranger reflect that, such as, I am a wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world below. And actually I have to sing this one to get it right. I am a wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world below. And there's no sickness, toil, nor danger to that bright world to which I go. I'm going there to meet my mother. She said she'd meet me when I count. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going home. And the song is a very Christian Judeo motif, but the concept of your ancestors from the other side are encouraging you to live and make your way through life is a very pagan Druid concept. I mean, humans everywhere have wanted that ancestral link. Going into character, and boy, I know I'm going to have some people tease me about this one. There's a very popular country rock song called Ladies Love Country Boys by Trace Adkins. And at first you're like, oh, come on, this is spiritual? But think about it, because what the song is really about is this family that is freaking out that their educated, urbanized daughter has fallen in love with someone who comes from a rural environment who's closer to nature. And this guy is more honest and more virtuous than many of the people in the urban environment. And we Druids have to notice that in the urban environment, there is a lot more temptation than there is in a rural one, at least to our way of thinking, to be a nefarious, lying son of a bitch, because you can get away with it. If there's a lot of people around, you can afford to dick over a couple, as long as you're still loyal to the ones that love you. And, you know, you see many examples of this. I mean, you don't see the mafia out in the middle of Tennessee, like in the rural areas. You see it in big cities. And that's our perception of it, at least, because there's the base for it there. The more people, the greater the prevalence of evil. Now, don't get me wrong, the more people, the greater prevalence of good, too, because you've got more people morally encouraging you. But it seems to me that in big cities and in urban centers, since there's more opportunity to get away with evil, it is participated in much more. This brings me to a kind of our connection thing. And so I've written down here a song by Joan Osborne called Spiderwebs. Now, if you've not heard this song, this is probably one of the best blues songs ever made. Spiderwebs' theory is that Ray Charles, the musician, can suddenly see in this woman's dream, but when he sees, he loses his ability to play music. And the concept of the song not only is, and the whole thing that most pagans would call a gift for a gift, or that suffering brings character, it also goes into the connections that human beings have to one another. At one point the song says, the world is made of spider webs, the threads are stuck to me and you, be careful what you're wishing for, because when you gain you just might lose. And so there's a concept in there of community and interconnection that Druids believe in, and the song rocks. Let me say it again, the song rocks. John Osborne's voice, hold on, thinking about it. Yeah, that's someone I would really love to meet in real life. Okay, going into that kind of connection thing, there's another song that I have listed here called song has got one particular chorus in it that really strikes me. The verses have things like, I can smell that honeysuckle and it tastes so sweet with the natural world. But it also goes into what a small rural community is like. At one point it says something along the lines of, it's where I learned about living, it's where I learned about love, it's where I learned about working hard and having a little is just enough, it's where I learned about Jesus and knowing where I stand. This is me, you can take it or leave it, this is me, this is who I am. And so it has this affirmation of a strong internal set of personalized values that honestly sometimes when I'm in an urban environment, especially a big city, I don't see. It seems to me that the more that humans live in an area, the bigger the population of a city, the greater the chance not to live up to the ideals and get away with it, so most people don't. And that kind of poisons the water. Without corrective action, that poisons the water. In smaller towns, I'm not saying you don't have this problem too, especially small town gossip. Oh my God, have I had to live through that. But a small town tends to, it seems, and again, I'm just citing my personal experience, induce a stronger set of personal belief and a stronger internal sense of who you are. Now, going along with that sense of who you are, very popular song, again, country song by Darius Rucker, It's All Right. This is probably a Druid anthem if I've ever heard one. This really is about what we view as being what is truly worthy in the world. And It's All Right is all about this guy singing about how good his life is. And, he's not rich, he's not famous. He has his family, he has his wife, they have enough to have fun, they have enough to provide for all their needs, they're content. And Druidry is a lot about being content. One of the biggest things that messes human beings up is the need, the usually perceived falsely need of, I need to be this, I need to have that. You really don't need any of that stuff. Which gets me to the next song in the same vein, In My Dreams by Josh Turner. Now, Turner is kind of like the reincarnation of Johnny Cash. Turner's song In My Dreams is one of the lesser known songs. He got famous for Long Black Train and some other stuff. But in the song, it has a chorus that goes something like, some men dream of crossing oceans, some men dream of chasing fame. Nothing's more important than money and a name. But in my dreams, I see a little sky blue house beside a small stream, a front porch, a screen door, the sound of bare feet running on cartoons. In my dreams, your dreams come true. And so not only does it have that contentment of place, but it's got that concern for other people. The next song, you may not have heard of this band, but I'm pretty sure you've heard of this musician. Robbie Robertson is a famous rock and roll guitarist, involved in the band, for instance. But for a while, he had a side project called Robbie Robertson and the Red Road Ensemble, and this was a collection of Native American musicians making music about what it means to be a Native American in the modern world. They have one particular song, well, they have more than one particular song, but there's one particular song up on this list called It's a Good Day to Die. And before you have a reaction of, oh my gosh, military conflict, that's not what the song's actually about. Although the song does tell the story of an Indian chief standing up to a cavalry officer who started to kill him. The song is about how each day of this man's life, he's about to face death in the face, has been lived with his people and his tribe, and has given him such joy that for him, any day that he must leave this world because he's had that experience, it's not a sacrifice. He's already had what he considers to be the best thing in the world, which is his people, his culture, and his way of life. Going back to the magical southern type of thing, there's a series of songs here I'm about to mention that really have a strong magical motif in them, particularly a southern hoodoo kind of thing. The first one is Playing with Fire by Shannon Kirkman, which is a song about a guy going down to the crossroads and selling his souls to evil spirits to be able to play music. Now, this is a common legend in southern culture because we understand there's no advancement without sacrifice, and humans being humans try to cheat. And so the song is about the price of trying to cheat that process, of trying to get ahead without giving. And it's an awesome song. She's probably the most underrated guitarist I've ever met. Okay, this brings me to the classic southern rock band, and no, I don't mean Leonard Skinner. I'm talking about Creedence Clearwater Revival. Now, I already mentioned Fogerty earlier. Creedence Clearwater Revival had a lot of songs that had that strong southern mystical motif. In particular, the ones that come to mind are I Put a Spell on You, which is a spell about attracting a lover. Bad Moon Rising, which is a song about portents of danger coming. And Born on the Bayou. Now, Born on the Bayou, you're like, how is Born places voodoo took off. It took off in Louisiana. There's just something about the Louisiana Bayou that is not quite of this world, and it's probably like the closest you can get to those Moorish mists from Scotland and Ireland in the United States. It is definitely a place touched by spirits. The next song I want to recommend is a song by Garth Brooks called The River, which is a song about how difficult it is to attain your dreams. We Druids and heathens and pagans are always trying to inspire people to reach the best that they can be about themselves, but we accept that course may not be direct, and as a result, you may have to meander a bit through life to get there. The next song I have listed, it's not going to seem spiritual at first, but you start to think about it, it is. It was originally cut by Bob Dylan, but he didn't do a big song with it. Old Crow Medicine Show turned it into a song, and then Darius Rucker covered the song and made it a bit more upbeat. It's called Wagon Wheel. Now, Wagon Wheel is a song about a guy trying to come down from the north to the south, and along the way, he has to do various things to get where he's supposed to go, and he's hoping he's going to see his family. Again, like Wayfaring Stranger, the song kind of surmises the difficulties of traveling through life and what you may have to do to get there. But unlike Wayfaring Stranger, Wagon Wheel, the protagonist, is never alone. He meets people along the way, and they help him. So there's kind of this compassion thing in the song. Then we get to stuff that is going to show my parents' hillbilly roots. There is a traditional song called That Good Old Mountain Dew. Sometimes it's called Mountain Dew. The first version I heard of it was actually recorded by Ricky Skaggs. And it is a song about moonshine. Now, there's going to be a podcast later in Druids are for beer. I have noticed that most pagans, heathens, and druids don't have a problem with someone being intoxicated. I'm just saying. Now, interestingly enough, we tend to have a problem with someone being drunk, especially if they're an ass about it. We don't have a problem with intoxication. And the reason for that is when you're in that liminal, not quite here state, it is easy to, well, let's take the word for meditation. If you're in that liminal state when you're meditating or looking for a vision, it is easy to get spiritual guidance. And that elation you can feel from being intoxicated is very similar. And since many people, being people, are kind of lazy and don't want to take the years of learning how to meditate and vision quest like this, intoxication is a good shortcut to get there. And it's not just pagan heathens and druids that think this way. There's a Christian term called being drunk in the spirit. If you ever watch Pentecostals at their church service, someone's going to get hit by it. Alright. Bringing me to fun. Pagans like fun. And so there's a country song. Oh boy, am I going to get calls on this one. Called I Work Hard, I Play Harder by Gretchen Wilson. And the fact that I like this song has nothing to do with the fact that she's a babe. It has everything to do with the fact of this is one of the best songs about the work ethic I have ever heard. A lot of pagans, my personal experience, tend to be blue-collar people. We work hard. We typically have lower income jobs. But we have a strong love of family and a strong love of our friends. And in many pagan circles, your friends are part of your family. You still have the whole extended family thing. And so this song about doing what you have to do during the workday to go out and do what you want to do on the weekend, kind of a pagan motif. And which one of us trying for a spirit thing has not had to balance that at some point. Also by Gretchen Wilson, If You Take This Too Far, a song called All Jacked Up. Hilarious song, because all of us have seen that person at the bar that has had a little too much to drink. And the advice about moderation is a pagan virtue, despite what Christians may think about us. I realize that a lot of evangelicals in particular think that we dance around fires naked and have promiscuous sex with anybody we encounter. Let me just say that those are pagans. Those are people that are basically pagan to make mommy and daddy angry at them. They are not real pagans. In fact, most of the druids I've met are prudes, and most Ostruar are almost right-wing evangelists with what they think moral ability should be. Except that they, imbibe a lot, but so do good old country boys. Alright, so, going with higher things. Now, there is a band from England that basically changed rock and roll. They were the first one to actually take rock and roll and turn it into a production, a show, and add symphonic instruments to it. And this is Queen. Queen also is very unusual in that their approach to rock and roll and music, it seems to me, was always tell the story first. And that is a song about having a world where there is no violence, there is no hatred, there is no bigotry. The second song is a song called The Miracle. Again, kind of the same thing as One Vision. The Miracle is about getting there somehow. A Kind of Magic. Now this song is famous because it was in the Highlander soundtrack. And Disney made, not Disney, but they did kind of a cartoony video for it. But A Kind of Magic has within it hope. There's a lot of hope in pagan culture for a better world. And A Kind of Magic is about that hope. And with that hope is the concept that not all of us may see it in our lifetime, so you have this song called The Show Must Go On. The Show Must Go On is particularly tragic because it was being recorded, if I remember correctly, when Freddie Mercury was close to death. That one in Days of Our Lives. And The Show Must Go On is a very fortitude song. It sounds very bitter at first about the lead protagonist, saying that his heart is breaking, he feels terrible, but he's going to go out on stage and fake it. We who have had to live hard lives know that sometimes you have to do that for a few days or weeks or years to get through the bullshit to get where you need to get to. And I do apologize. I just realized I'm cursing a little bit in this podcast, but when I start talking about music, I start talking very plainly and earthly. So I do apologize if someone's offended. I'll try to stop it. Bringing me to the next artist. Just about anything by this artist is a pagan song. Not because he's a pagan, but because his themes are so universal you can find him anywhere. But he's also so well known that everybody has heard these songs at some point and has a knee-jerk reaction about the song, has a good feeling to it. And that's Bob Marley. In particular, 5 songs I've listed here are Three Little Birds, which is a song about love. This Is Love, Is This Love, another song about a relationship and love. Could You Be Loved, a song about relationship and love and growing up together. You're starting to see a theme here. One Love by Bob Marley, which is kind of the same vein as One Vision by Queen. And Get Up, Stand Up, which is a political activist song about standing up to people trying to oppress you. Now, as I said, just about anything by Marley is a pagan song because it addresses these universal themes about love, family, and place, and trying to make everything better. Sometimes when you have to make things better, you're going to come into conflict with people. And since we are pagans and heathens and we're on the outside of mainstream society, as far as religion and philosophy goes, you're going to encounter a lot of violence and derision. And so there's this very heavy metal song that I like for this. The band is called OTEP, and the song is called Rise, Rebel, Resist. The song was recorded, if I remember correctly, that during the second Bush administration here in the States. And the band's politics clearly showed through the song. But in addition to being kind of a rock rise anthem, the song does communicate a need to make change happen and not to let people push you around. Again, a pagan virtue. Okay, other things I've got on here. Yeah, I know the podcast is going long. I'm trying to hurry. Drive by the band Incubus. This is a song about taking control of your own life, not letting other people control you. Real So, actually, let me back up here. On relationships, pagans, unlike Christians and Jews, don't necessarily have the guilt about human sexuality. So there's two songs by the band ZZ Top I recommend as pagan virtue songs. One is called Legs, and one's called Sharp Dressed Man. And their songs basically both about the sexuality of a human being, legs for women and sharp dressed man for men, and what's expected. And they're, again, both popular, awesome songs. Everybody knows them. One of the main pagan virtues, though, is the love of place, the love of where you grew up. And there's several songs like this, but ones that leap out my mind everybody knows are Georgia by Ray Charles, Song of Winter by Francois, I don't remember this name, Francois Hardy. It's an actual song about the seasons, about the changing of the seasons. And I believe that one dates back to the 70s. And that one may not be well known, but I had heard it and I looked up to get it. Then you have All Summer Long by Kid Rock, who's so popular right now, about this boy spending his summer with his girlfriend. And again, it's laced with Southernisms. And you can see, as I finish up my list here, that this is not the normal thing you're hearing. You're not hearing things like Lorena McKenna, Enya, The Pogues, Foggy Molly, Fawn, Illuvity, Omnia, Emerald Rose, Elaine Silver. I've not gone to typical pagan music is considered pagan because the goal of the list was to pull out mainstream stuff that everyone knows and can go, oh, okay, so it's kind of like that. And I hope it helps you for that purpose. But the other reason why I wanted to do this is I wanted you to not think that just because you're pagan, you can't participate in the culture at large. This is something else I've seen people do. Just because you're on the fringe of society doesn't mean you're not valuable, and it doesn't mean you don't have something to contribute to them, even if they don't believe it. It just means that your involvement with many things they consider to be valuable isn't going to have the same impact. Just because I don't believe in the Judeo-Christian concept of God, I have my own concept of God, doesn't mean that when I hear something like the eulogy at a funeral, or the opening prayer at a football game, or the Pledge of Allegiance being asked to be recited, or the Easter egg hunts, or the Christmas trees, that I don't have an emotional reaction to those things, and I don't have a cultural enrichment with those things. It just means I got something different than the other person who is a believer in that religion. And if you look at it that way, the loneliness and the alienation that I see some pagans have to struggle with, it goes away. So, I hope that helped. And, well, for a short ramble, this is almost 30 minutes. Once again, proof of